Welcome to the Beaufort News, everyone. I'm Robyn Zimmerman, and guess what? We are here in the city of Beaufort, downtown in front of City Hall, with the mayor of Beaufort, Stephen Murray. Good to have you with us.
Hey, Robyn, great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
It's good to be in person on this beautiful day in November. You just came from Parris Island, where you witnessed an amazing event. It was a celebration of birthday of the Marines, right?
It was. It's the 246th birthday of the Marine Corps. So happy birthday, Marines. Parris Island, the general out there, they have a really great pageant, they call it, and they have Marines from all of the different sort of time periods and battles that they fought. They give a great history lesson. And then what I think is cool, they bring out this giant birthday cake, and they have the youngest Marine on the depot and the oldest Marine on the depot share a piece of cake with the idea that there's a transfer of knowledge, a transfer of tradition and legacy from the oldest to the youngest. So just proud to be an American.
So neat. And of course this week we have Veterans Day, and we're really celebrating the military in this area, so important to the vibrancy of Beaufort.
Absolutely. I think, for so many reasons, just that the legacy, the history of the military investment in our region, the economic impact, how we support military families, the veterans that have moved and live here. So again, so many reasons to be excited about this week. With Veterans Day, the parade is tomorrow. There's a celebration in the National Cemetery after the parade. And then the Beaufort Regional Chamber is hosting an event in Port Royal celebrating our military families.
And isn't it wonderful that we're able to celebrate this year with all of these events? Last year we were in the throes of COVID. We're coming out of it. So let's jump over to that topic. So mask mandate, where are we with vaccines for the city?
Yep, so no restrictions. We lifted the mask restrictions in City Hall a couple of weeks ago. Numbers continue to fall at the hospital. Vaccine rates are still, slowly inching up. The vaccine clinics are still open, so we're still encouraging folks to please go get vaccinated. But we think we've really sort of turned the curve, and our goal is to try to get back to normal and keep our economy rolling like always.
So lessons learned during this really a 2-year craziness with the pandemic, lessons learned from you and your leadership position, and really for the city, anything that you've changed, anything that you're re-looking at because of the pandemic?
Yeah, I think one, we're all in this together. And I think through the pandemic, I certainly realized how important the business community, the nonprofit community, local government, public safety, the medical community, how we all really have to work together. And when we do, we can tackle, crazy global pandemics in about the safest way that's possible. I also think virtual technology and being able to do Zoom meetings and allow some of our employees to work remotely, leveraging technology that's been available, but it sort of forced us to maybe adopt some things that would have taken us longer to do otherwise.
Well, drill down a little bit with us, Mayor, on that. As far as city employees, are they all back in the office, or are they working from home, or you have a hybrid?
Yeah, the majority of folks are back in the office, and when you think about what this local government provides, public safety, public services, a police officer can't work remotely. A firefighter can't work remotely. Our public works folks that take care of all of our parks and city facilities, you got to be on the ground. So while some of our administrative staff were able to work from home throughout the pandemic, almost everybody is back in the office now and working just business as usual for us.
So you have been mayor since December the 8th of 2020.
Yes.
And I did mention to you yesterday, I want you to describe your first year in 3 words. Can you do that for us?
You asked me yesterday, and I've been thinking about that. There's some words I could use that probably aren't for polite
appropriate for TV.
But I would say certainly challenging, fulfilling, and humbling would probably be the 3 words that I'd use about the last 11 months.
When we come back, we're going to delve into the COVID relief dollars. I think there's $6.5 million that is coming to the city of Beaufort approximately.
6.6, but
okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about where that money is going and when the decisions need to be made. So stay with us, and we'll be right back. For this edition of the Beaufort News, we are on location in the city of Beaufort in front of City Hall with the Mayor, Stephen Murray. We talked with you a few minutes ago. We're back. Let's dive into the COVID relief dollars that will be coming from the federal government. You said $6.6 million. A lot of decisions to be made on where that money goes. I know a big piece of it is water and sewer. So for our viewers, share with us You've got the water and sewer, and then I think emergency funds.
Yeah, so right now we haven't committed money to any areas. We had a staff presentation about a week or so ago and sort of their initial suggestions on where we might spend the money. We have received $3.3 million from the federal government, and so that is in an account. Several months ago, Council, we created a separate fund, and so that money is sitting in that fund. To release those monies and to spend them, it will have to take council action, and so there'll be public meetings. And so I want the public to know that that money will be transparently spent, and there will be an opportunity all along the way for folks to come in and to give guidance and their suggestions on what we ought to do with this federal money. Staff's initial suggestions were we had some losses due to the pandemic and additional overtime and equipment and supplies, and so we're going to recoup those costs and put those back in the budget. The bulk of it, staff has suggested about $4 million of the 6.6 would go towards critical stormwater infrastructure, which we've been battling for several years now, and then there's another $1 million or so for affordable housing, workforce housing / workforce development, and then another pot for equipment and supplies and other things that staff has deemed necessary. So we've had a number of nonprofit partners sort of reach out and ask whether or not we'd consider their proposals. So we are soliciting and accepting proposals until the end of this year. So folks can submit what they think we ought to do with it. And I imagine within the next month or so, we'll have some more public work sessions to really start identifying sources and where we're going to spend those dollars.
And so that's going to be a very long process, arduous process, but it's important because it's a big chunk of money.
Yeah, the good news is we have until 2024 to expend the funds, so I don't feel like we're in a rush. I do feel like this is a one-time sort of really unique gift from the federal government for us, and so I've personally asked staff to look at it through three lenses. One is it's one-time money, so I don't think we ought to buy things or invest in things that are going to be recurring, because once the money's gone, it's gone. Also, another area is what's going to have the largest impact towards our strategic plan goals, and the strategic plan can be found at cityofbeaufort.org. And third, what are areas where we generally have a hard time finding funds to support projects, where we can't get grants or we can't use general fund monies? Where are these areas where we really struggle? And so to try to look at spending the dollars through those three lenses.
Was there a discussion about hazard pay or bonuses for employees?
There was a brief discussion. It was hard to sort of figure out how to do that fairly and equitably because all the 173 employees in the organization are valuable and critical to the success and operation of the city. The one thing we have done is we just completed a salary analysis and salary study for our employees, and actually last night in council we voted to increase salaries across the city, across employees, and to make sure that all our folks feel like they're being fairly compensated.
That's very exciting. Do they know that? Yeah.
I hope so. But I think the thought was, instead of a one-time sort of thank you for their service over the last 2 years, let's make sure ongoing and long-term, again, our folks are feeling like they're being fairly and equitably compensated.
Do you have a good team?
We have an amazing team on the council side, on the staff side. If you ever hear my public comments, I always lead with, I'm so proud of Team Beaufort. For a little city, I think we punch above our weight in the way we take care of our people, the way we take care of our parks, the services that we provide. And I could not be more proud as mayor of my hometown, who grew up in this sense of hospitality and how we take care of one another.
Sometimes the mayor doesn't get along with the city manager or city council. So how would you refer to your relationship with council and with the manager?
Yeah, I think, I generally say, I've been married almost 20 years, and I love my wife, and she loves me. But we disagree. We disagree on a pretty regular basis. But we still love each other, and we still cohabitate together under one roof. So I don't think that we should have an expectation any differently in our politics or in our businesses or in our personal lives. We're going to disagree. And I think if you come at it from a position of, it's okay for us to disagree and have different opinions. And if we follow the process of democracy and of Robert's Rules of Order, there's a way for us to respectfully and civilly disagree with one another, come to some kind of consensus, and move our organization forward. And I think one of the things that I feel fortunate is that our folks love this city. We never question each other's integrity. We always show one another respect. And I think that's kind of the key so far of how we're able to move forward in a civil, sort of respectful way to represent the citizens of Beaufort.
Because it's all about the people.
It's all we are servants. We are public servants. Whether it's the mayor's office, the custodial staff that takes care of our facilities, the police officers on the street, our role at the heart of what we do is taking care of people.
Very good. Stephen Murray will be back with us in just a few moments. Don't go away, everyone. And Mayor Murray is with us once again as we continue our discussion about the city of Beaufort, where we've been, where we're going. Let's talk about the comprehensive plan that has been really fleshed out over and over as you move on to. It has to be done every 10 years, I believe.
10 years. It has to be done every 10 years by state law, updated every 5 years, and so we're up for our 10-year update.
So the process to where you are today with the comprehensive plan, you had a lot of public input.
We have got a lot of public input. I mean, candidly, I think we handled it wrong up front. We didn't really engage the public like we could or should have. And we also had an opportunity to partner with the county and with our neighbors in Port Royal, and we didn't do that either. So in hindsight, I think we missed the boat a little bit. But that being said, I feel like we've gotten it back on track. Our staff has worked really hard to engage the public and go out and intentionally meet with stakeholders to capture feedback. And so the final draft has been released. It was released this week. Council had a public hearing last night, and so I do want the public to know the draft is available on the website at cityofbeaufort.org, and there's about 4 or 5 more public stops for folks to come in and provide feedback. And we really want people to take some time, look at that comp plan, and provide the feedback, and we're going to make sure that we capture everybody's sort of thoughts.
Stephen, what is the difference between the strategic plan and the comprehensive plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the comp plan is more of a long-term sort of visioning document. Again, it's every 10 years. The strategic plan is more of a tactical document for us that guides resources, public investment in resources tied to the comp plan, but more immediate tactical goals for our city and staff and council to accomplish.
You mentioned public input. That is very, very important to you, to the city, to city council. So as you move forward in everything that you're going to do, you're going to really encourage that?
Absolutely. And I often say I am not the smartest man in the room most of the time, right? And so I do think that when we get a lot of folks in the room from different backgrounds and different perspectives, and we are able to capture that feedback, I think we get to the best policy decisions, we get to the best vision by capturing, again, that diversity of thought, that diversity of perspective. And so making sure that people are heard and that their thoughts are captured in our plan is really, really important to me, really important to our council, and really important to our staff.
Let's touch on big city projects, capital projects. Go.
Yeah, so capital projects, we just let the engineering study go for the Point neighborhood, which is going to be a bear to tackle, but we're going to get our hands around that. We'll be releasing money soon to do the parallel road engineering there. We've got a number of other stormwater projects in the hopper. The marina is teed up for some improvements here in the future, so there's a lot of going on for a little city.
Why is stormwater, why is that so major in this area?
Yeah, well, stormwater, it's a twofold factor. One is with the growth and development we're facing, it's putting additional pressure on our infrastructure. There's been a bit of a lack of maintenance over the years in some of our stormwater systems. And then with climate change, with rising sea levels, we saw this weekend with king tides, pushing water up into the stormwater systems and causing flooding, and then these rain bombs, these more aggressive storm events where we have 5, 6, 7 inches of rain in a shortened period of time. So those factors combined are causing some real nasty issues throughout the city in flooding businesses or flooding homes or making roads impassable. So we have got 9 troubled areas. I think we've tackled a couple of them now, and we're slowly chipping away as we can get the engineering, raise the funds. But I'm optimistic that over the next few years, we're really going to make some great headway.
Let's touch on new jobs, economic development in this area, companies, businesses moving here.
Yeah, so we are booming. We've had a number of new business starts. Business license revenues are through the roof, which I think is an indicator of the health of the business community right now, in spite of COVID and a pandemic. So, workforce is a constraint, and talking with our restaurateurs and some of the folks in the hospitality, we're still struggling on the workforce front. The supply chain front is still very frustrating, but that's more of a global issue that I think is going to take some time outside of our walls to stabilize. And then in terms of the digital corridor and the Economic Development Corp, they are just booming along. We've got groundbreakings out at the Commerce Park. If you haven't been out there, I'd encourage residents to go through the Commerce Park. The roads are paved, the spec building slab is poured, and there's another site that's being mucked out and fill's being brought in to go vertical on some buildings. So I think in the next few years, you're going to see a completely different Commerce Park than what you see today.
Very good. We'll be right back with the Mayor of Beaufort in just a few moments. Don't go away for our last segment. So we have covered a lot of ground with Mayor Stephen Murray with the City of Beaufort. We've got this one last segment. We're going to touch on the waterfront. There is a possibility of a cruise coming through with a stop in Beaufort. There's improvements to the marina. So, Mayor, tell us about it.
Absolutely. So a few years ago, our former marina operator decided to retire after, I think, 3 or 4 decades of him and his family running the marina, and we're very appreciative to the Griffin family. But new operator, Safe Harbor Marinas, more of a corporate outfit. Part of the deal we made with them a few years ago is that if things sort of go well and they're liking the agreement here, that they would make a pretty significant investment in our marina. So they presented to council a couple of weeks ago. It'll be somewhere between a $6 and $7 million investment into the waterside facilities. So an expansion of the transient dock so we can capture more of the boat traffic that comes down what I call the I-95 of the waterways, the intercoastal waterway. And also for local boaters, be able to provide additional capacity and access for those of us who keep our boats down there locally.
What about the cruise?
So cruise, we've got early indications that National Geographic might start bringing a cruise through.
The Sea Lion.
The Sea Lion, National Geographic, a very reputable group that's very conservation minded. So in terms of us being a tourism destination in place, but also very environmentally conscious and sensitive about our natural resources, I think it really fits sort of the Beaufort model, of Beaufort ethos of tourism, but being environmentally safe and friendly.
So we're moving into the holiday season. Thanksgiving's a few weeks away, of course, Christmas. So what's on tap here in Beaufort?
One of my favorite times of year in the
You're a big kid.
I'm a big kid. I love oysters and bonfires and being outside. And so this time of year when we get to go to oyster roast, and now without COVID, we get to be around each other without masks and closer than 6 feet. But the first weekend of December is probably my favorite weekend of the year in Beaufort. It's our holiday weekend. So on Friday night, we have Night on the Town on Bay Street where we close the streets down.
Wow.
All the stores are open late, and there's food and beverages and just a real sense of a holiday spirit. We light the Christmas tree that night. Followed on Saturday, we have the Light Up the Night Boat Parade, which as a boater is one of my favorite things. And so you come down to Henry C. Chambers Park and you'll see boats all lit up and decorated. And then on Sunday is our classic Christmas parade. And so we'll block off most of downtown Beaufort, and there'll be 100 plus floats, and just a great time to be a Beaufortonian.
And then we move into 2022. So anything that's just top of mind, we've been talking, of course, about a lot of things today, but anything top of mind that you really is going to be front and center for you as mayor in 2022?
Yeah, I think we're going to bump up our strategic planning process to probably somewhere in January. We've got a number of sort of development code issues that we've got to sort of work through. Affordable and workforce housing, we've got a conversation going with the county and with a number of partners across the region about how we could have some tremendous impact in the affordable workforce housing space to support workforce for local businesses. The South Coast Cyber Center, which I'm vice chair of, has got some really good momentum in creating training opportunities for citizens in the cybersecurity space. The Economic Development Corp, again, in being able to diversify our economy, bring in clean industry that provides a great wage for our folks. I think in tourism and small group travel, being able to help in that space. Southside Park, we're going to do a master planning study to try to make some impacts into Southside Park and really get that polished up, something we can all be proud of. And then continuing to make sure that we can deliver the highest absolute quality of service at the best value that our residents have come to expect.
So how is the wife and the kids?
They are awesome in spite of me. My girls are in 3rd grade this year. We moved schools, and so we're at Beaufort Elementary School. They are 8, going on 18 is my joke. They keep me on my toes.
And Melissa?
And Melissa is amazing. She runs the house. She keeps me in line. She's a great advisor for me. it's just again, it's been a great year, and I'm proud to be here and proud to be the mayor.
It's been so fun to interview and get to know you this year. You've done a great job. I did want to say Joseph Keith, who is our videographer, is also born and raised in Beaufort as you, and his family has a plumbing company that you were familiar with that we were talking about earlier.
The Keiths, our families go way back. I've known the Keiths for a long time, and us natives are fewer and further between these days, so love to see a Beaufort boy here as a part of the WHHI team.
And I think his grandma's going to be watching. Thank you so much, Mayor Stephen Murray with the City of Beaufort. Appreciate it. Have a good 2022, good holidays and 2022. And thank you all for watching this edition on location in the City of Beaufort of the Beaufort News. I'm Robyn Zimmerman, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.